everybody. We're back in the saddle. Yes, we are back in the saddle. And as everybody knows, everybody in Texas is in the saddle because everybody in Texas has a horse. I mean, that's just common sense. Isn't that common knowledge? Doesn't everybody in Texas own a horse? Let's go and talk to Jordan and see whether or not that's true. Jordan, does everybody in Texas own a horse?
Just about, man. It's not the Honda.
I knew it. I know everybody in Texas owns a gun.
Yes, sir. I've got a 12 gauge, holds 9 shells.
Well, there you go. So welcome aboard, buddy. How can I help?
All right. I've got a friend of mine, neighbor, who has a few illnesses. She's 19, so let's see what we can do to help her.
Great.
She has cluster headaches, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue syndrome.
All right, stop right there. Stop right there. So fibromyalgia is a selenium deficiency 99.9% of the time. It is a simple selenium deficiency. And that MDs don't know this is like a gargantuan oversight on their part. Veterinarians have eliminated fibromyalgia in sheep for, 40 years. If you know anybody, any rancher who keeps sheep, when a sheep gets fibromyalgia, it's called white muscle disease, and the vet comes out to the ranch, gives the sheep an injection of selenium, and within a couple of hours the sheep is prancing around like there's no problem, whereas before it was so painful it couldn't even stand up. It's a simple selenium deficiency most of the time, so the child needs selenium. Chronic fatigue, the first thing to think about with anybody that has chronic fatigue, by the way, chronic fatigue is the number one most reported condition that people go to the doctor for in the United States. The number one reason that people visit an MD is because they're exhausted. It's the number one reason. Now, why is everybody in the world exhausted? Because everybody's running on nutritional fumes. That's why. But the medical doctors completely overlook this. They're clueless about what to do for it. They'll tell the person it's all in their head. They'll recommend prescription medication that doesn't make anything worse. It stresses out the adrenal glands, stresses out the hormonal system in the body. It's a nightmare what the MDs do for this. And it is the single most reported condition in the United States. Most of the time, where there's smoke, there's fire. When you hear hoofbeats, you think about horses. Before you think about zebras, it's chronic nutrient deficiencies across the board. So, she needs the Healthy Start Pack and selenium. And what was the first thing that she said she's complaining about?
Let's see. It was cluster headaches was one of them.
Oh, yeah. So that's calcium and essential fatty acid deficiencies. Calcium and essential fatty acid deficiencies. So those are both going to be covered by the Healthy Start Pack and the Healthy Start Pack with a little extra selenium. Is there anything else that's bothering her?
She has polycystic kidney disease, and then she has what's that word? Lactose intolerant. She has to drink like almond milk. So, and I've got some OsteoFX Plus. Yeah,
okay, great. So she doesn't have polycystic kidney disease, did you say?
Yeah, that's what I had her message it to me on Facebook so I could say it correctly, but yes.
Yeah, okay, so nobody has polycystic kidney disease. Polycystic kidneys are not a disease. Okay. Polycystic kidneys are a birth defect. And MDs, and this happens all the time, right? Somebody will be 50 years old. They've got, low back pain. They go into an MD's office. The MD does an X-ray of the low back, and in the X-ray of the low back, they see that there's a problem with the kidney, something funky in the kidney. So they'll do a high-definition ultrasound of the kidney, or they'll do a CT or an MRI of the kidney, and, oh, my God, you have polycystic kidneys. We have to operate right away. Well, guess what? They've had polycystic kidneys their entire life. It's a birth defect. It happens in utero. It's like someone being born with a club foot or someone being born with a cleft palate or spina bifida. It's a birth defect. She's had it her entire life. It's not a problem. It's not a problem. She can live with it. The kidneys can handle it and deal with it. It's not a problem. Now, rarely, if polycystic kidney disease is a problem, it's going to be a problem in day one of life, right? The child's born. They've got all kinds of problems. They do the blood work. They see that the creatinine levels are off the chart. There's runaway kidney disease. It's a problem. And if polycystic kidneys is a problem, it's a problem at birth. if they're fine symptomatically and the blood work's fine, the urine's fine, they're fine, the doctor's full of crap. But, stupid is as stupid does, and you can't fix stupid. So I'm not going to worry about that because there's nothing to worry about. You can't go back in time and fix it. Her mother, however, if she's still considering having kids, and I don't know if she is, but she needs to be counseled that that's the obstetrician's fault. Birth defects are caused by nutrient deficiencies in the blood of the pregnant mother while she's pregnant. It's the obstetrician's fault because it's the obstetrician's job to keep the mother and the child healthy during pregnancy. If anybody is born in the United States or anywhere, quite frankly, with a birth defect, the attending physician needs to have their medical license suspended and send them back to school for an education about the relationship between medical nutrition and birth defects, for goodness sake. So I'm going to bet you 25 cents, Jordan, that this kid also has really bad menstrual cramps, but she was too embarrassed to tell you about it. Really bad menstrual cramps, or that she has restless legs at night in bed. It's hard for her to get to sleep because her legs are, kind of antsy and jumpy. Or she has trouble falling asleep or kind of a low-grade anxiety. And oftentimes, teenagers, it's hard to get them to say anything, right, let alone give you intimate details of their life. But I bet you that if you probed, you would find these things present as well because they all flock together, these symptoms. So the recommendation is easy. It's 1 Healthy Body Start Pack 2.0 liquid, 1 Healthy Body Start Pack 2.0 liquid, and 2 bottles of selenium per 100 pounds of body weight per month, plus eliminate the 10 bad foods. It should be easy breezy, lemon squeezy.
Yeah, she's a real lightweight. She's like 110, 115. They've been my neighbors for over 10, 15 years, so... One thing she was wanting me to ask, as she's on a few different medications, she was concerned that taking the nutritional supplements would somehow, that old story.
Well, no, it's just the opposite. First of all, good for you for being a good neighbor, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because that takes a certain amount of cojones to walk over to your neighbor's house and say, hey, look, I know a doctor that says you don't have to suffer with that, and if I lend you this DVD, will you watch it? It's not everybody that can do that, so good for you for doing that, number one. Number two, it's just the opposite, right? When a person takes a prescription medication, the prescription medication upregulates biochemical pathways in the body. It's like stepping on the gas in the car. Well, when you step on the gas in the car, you burn through the gasoline in the tank faster, right? Well, when you take a prescription medication in the body, you burn through your vitamins and minerals and essential fatty acid stores just like that. So the longer that somebody's on a prescription medication, the less nutrition they have in their body, and the less effective the medication becomes. This is why after someone's been on a med for 6 months or 7 months or a year, it doesn't work as well as it did before, and they have to up the dose or add another drug to it. And it's not because the person's habituated to the response. It's because the drug just burned up all the B vitamins in their body and all the minerals, and they don't have any more. And so the drug isn't working as well. So just the opposite will happen to her, that the drugs will work more efficiently and more effectively. But remember, the medication, the purpose of the medication was never to heal the problem.
Exactly.
And the kid needs to know this. The doctor is not trying to fix the problem. No, the doctor is managing the problem, right? And it is the goal of medical nutrition every time. And sometimes we hit the mark and sometimes we fall short. Most of the times we hit it. It's the goal of medical nutrition to get people so healthy they can safely stop taking all prescription meds, especially if she's 19 years old. So, maybe get her a copy of my book and have her read it, kind of bring her up to speed with the whole holistic thing. Because really, people just don't understand. They just don't understand this. And I tell you what, man, if every Texan woke up tomorrow and understood that their MDs, who may be the nicest people God ever created, really nice human beings, but if every Texan understood in their bones tomorrow that their MDs are not trained how to cure their disease, that their MDs are not concerned with what causes the disease, there'd be a revolution. And the Texans would start it, the Texans would finish it. And that's one of the reasons why the work that we do is so important, because all we're doing here is talking about the truth. Look, this is the way that it is. This is what MDs are good for. This is what they suck at. This is how they're trained. This is what they think. Did you know that? Did you know that this is the way your MD thinks? Did you really know that? Most people don't. And this is a problem. And when people see it and experience it, and, you know, the sackcloth gets pulled from their eyes, everything's different. And that's why it is only a matter of time until everything changes here, because the truth will out. And this is Longevity on the Move. This is Longevity Nation worldwide on the move. Because when your neighbor gets better and then she tells it to her girlfriends and her parents see the change and they tell it to their friends, a word like that's going to trickle.
Like
and
wildfire.
That's how we're going to change the world, man. And you know what? It's all because of you, which makes you the most awesome person in the world, Jordan. So go do something really good for yourself because you're making a huge difference. Do not stop, no matter what you do. Redouble your efforts. I not only want you to become the most famous person in Texas, I want you to become the wealthiest person in Texas. And how are you going to do that? By helping everybody in your world to recover their health. And that beats a poke in the eye with a sharp stick. Now go out there and get her done, man. I'm very proud of what you're doing. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a peaceful revolution, but it is a revolution, and it is a revolution of ideas. We are on the tip of the spear of cutting edge from the Department of Redundancy Department. Science-based, clinically verified medical nutrition for the masses. In the same way that we doubled life expectancy in the United States by cleaning up the water, by developing public sanitation, and by having the government regulate food control and subsidize farmers so everybody has food on the table all the time, we doubled our life expectancy just by doing those three things. Well, guess what? When you get a clue, stop eating food that's hurting the body. Fill your nutritional tank up every day with everything that your body needs. That's a game changer, and that's how we're going to make a difference in the world. Stick around. That's how we do it. One person at a time. A little bit of knowledge goes a long way here, right? I mean, a little bit of knowledge goes a long way. I'm, in my mid-50s? You know, I remember when the televisions were black and white. I remember when the phones in the house were the old rotary, with, really heavy phones, a rotary dial. I remember that. I remember when the TVs were black and white. I remember when there wasn't air conditioning in cars. I remember when there were no power windows in cars. I remember when the first color TV was introduced. I remember when the first cell phones were introduced. Those big, gigantic things, with the big antennas, looked like a walkie-talkie. I remember those. I remember when shotguns had wooden gun stocks and no such thing as a plastic gun stock. What is that? I remember lead shot in shotguns. I remember a lot of things. Times change. People change, right? I remember the Commodore 64. Remember the Commodore 64? Remember 8-track tapes? Remember those? How about those 8-track tapes? Now what do we have? We've got MP3 stuff. We've got all of the songs in the universe on a little eeny-weeny teeny jump drive. It's unbelievable what technology has done, right? Every house has at least one computer in it now. Everybody's got a smartphone. There's more computer technology on one smartphone now than there was on the first manned mission to the moon. You got to be kidding me. We move fast with technology. We don't move at all with medicine. We don't move at all with medicine. Because as Max Planck, one of my most favorite physicists, said, science progresses one funeral at a time. Because in the world of medicine, you have the court of public opinion. Well, not public opinion, but the court of standard operating medical procedures, right? So the medical doctors go to school and they're trained in the standard operating medical procedure, and this is what you do. Even if it doesn't work, this is just what you do. Doctors are also trained not to question authority. Doctors are also trained that their you-know-what doesn't stink and that they can't make mistakes. And if they do make mistakes, well, that's just life, and, you're going to have a collateral damage no matter what, and, sometimes patients just have to die. And so ridiculous ideas like bloodletting, which is, was the common medical procedure in George Washington's time, take a century before they're stopped being used. Case in point, Dr. Semmelweis. You want to do a little history reading? Look up Dr. Semmelweis. I forget what his first name was. Emmanuel, perhaps? I forget. Dr. Semmelweis was working in the clinic. He was an MD in the 1800s, I think, or early 1900s, can't remember. It was before Louis Pasteur came along. And Semmelweis noticed that the women who gave birth with midwives did not get childbed fever. And the women who gave birth with MDs got childbed fever. And childbed fever was a big bad voodoo daddy. It killed most of the people that got it. If you got childbed fever, you're going to die. And it was bad. And Semmelweis also noticed that the doctors who would deliver the babies would have bloody aprons on, right, and bloody lab coats, because they'd come out of surgery and covered with blood, and they'd just walk into the next room and deliver the baby. This was before Louis Pasteur, before anybody knew about the germ theory or the presence of microbes at all. So doctors are delivering children with, dirty, infected hands. And so the women get childbed fever and die. And Semmelweis said, look, this doesn't happen with the midwives. The only difference is the midwives have clean hands, the doctors have bloody hands. I want every doctor in the world to wash their hands before they deliver babies, and they kicked Semmelweis out of the medical profession. Kicked him out. Isn't that great? This is what happens. Medicine does not advance the same way that other fields of human endeavor do. Medicine stays the course. Now, when you mix together into a potion the normal intellectual intractability of medical doctors with a for-profit monopoly, man, guess what happens? People die. Again, you're welcome to your own opinion, but not your own set of facts. Leading cause of death in the United States, MD-directed medicine. 780,000 people a year die from MD-directed medicine. That's more than heart disease. It's more than cancer. You see all these things about cancer awareness and heart disease awareness. How about medical doctor awareness? Wouldn't that be more prudent? I think it would. That's why I'm here. Remember the name of this show. Fire your MD now. Going to Texas and Carmelo when we come back. Stick around. Welcome back, Jack. Dr. Peter Glidden here, your steadfast advocate for health, talking it up. In the chat room, we have 52 people viewing us live on YouTube and in the live chat. 48. Hey, we made 100. We're at 100 people, and you gotta love that. Let's go to Texas and talk to Carmela. Hey, Carmela, thanks for the phone call. What's your horse's name?
No, I don't have one. No, I don't.
I thought everybody in Texas owned a horse. I guess not, huh?
No, I live in the city, and I don't have no ranch or anything out of the city.
Hey, Chihuahua.
Yeah. Chihuahua, yeah.
Chihuahua.
Yeah, I'm just, I got the products for myself.
Yeah.
And, within 3 days, I felt like when I was 18 years old.
I know. It's remarkable, isn't it? It's crazy.
Yeah. Tears came out my eyes when I got up. I just felt my body was so strong.
It's remarkable. I know. Most people have no idea what they're missing.
Yes. So I'm calling for my nephew. He's 27 years old. He works for the oil field. And they go upstairs, a lot. So he has problem with his knees.
Oh, yeah.
Something's wrong with the bones, it's almost gone or something.
Yeah. Well, the problem isn't, so here's the deal, right? There is a certain amount of stress that's going to hurt anybody's bone. I mean, even Superman, there's a certain amount of stress that's going to break Superman's bone. But a kid in their 20s, I mean, I don't care if he works for the post office and he walks 15 miles a day. I don't care if he's a soccer player and runs 15 miles a day. The only reason that the knees go bad with normal wear and tear is not because he has a knee, but because he's eating food that's hurting the knee. He doesn't know that he's doing that. and because his food doesn't have the stuff that the knees need to maintain their structural integrity. It's kind of like he's driving around on tires that he never put, he only put air in them once. And he's been driving around on them, and they're losing air because that's just what happens, and you got to put the air back in, but he's never put the air back in. And he's wondering why the knees are going bad. Well, it's because he has a stupid doctor. That's why. And his doctor should have told him this. I mean, I know this. The research has been done. I've read the research articles. I've applied this clinically. I've seen what happens. Why doesn't his MD? Because his MD doesn't give a crap. His MD is not a good doctor. He's a bad doctor. He's a bad doctor. No biscuit. Bad doctor. No biscuit. So, what's your son's body weight, Carmela, approximate?
It's, he's 230.
230? Okay. And how tall is he?
I think he's 6'2" or...
So, yeah, he's probably, 20 pounds overweight? Little overweight, not much, maybe 20 pounds?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. All right, so here's what I would do if I were him to support and promote healthy bones and joints, okay? Per month, I would do 2 Healthy Bone and Joint Pack 2.0 liquid. 2 Healthy Bone and Joint Pack 2.0 in the liquid form, 2 of those a month. I would do 4 bottles of Ultimate Selenium per month, 4 bottles of Ultimate Selenium per month.
Okay.
And 4 bottles of liquid Glucogel Plus per month. 4 bottles of liquid Glucogel Plus per month. Now, alternately, instead of the liquid Glucogel Plus, let me do some quick math here. He could do, what do you say, he's 240 pounds. So he needs 24. So 24.
So it would be the same.
Yeah, okay. So 24 caps times 30 days. Hold on. 24 caps a day times 30 days in the month equals 720. So if we divide 720 by 240, we get 3, exactly. So an easier way for him to do this would be 3 bottles of Glucogel capsules at the 240 count. 3 bottles of Glucogel at the 240 count, the capsules. He won't need to do the liquid. All right, so that's 2 Healthy Body Start Pack 2.0 in the liquid form, 4 bottles of selenium, and 3 bottles of the Glucogel capsules at the 240 count per month. Plus, he must stop the 10 bad foods. He must stop the 10 bad foods. And I'm going to guess, Carmela, that the same way that you felt better within just a couple days, that he's going to feel better within a couple days. And within a couple of months, his knees are going to be, like they were when he was 10 years old. It's not going to be a problem. I've seen patients that, they've got a knee problem. They go to the knucklehead orthopedic surgeon. When all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. So what's the surgeon going to tell them that they do? Well, you need surgery. So they had surgery. Oh, you've got bone-on-bone arthritis and you need surgery. So they had a fake knee done. And then that started to get funky. So they said, well, I'm going to try something else. They talked to Dr. Wallach. Dr. Wallach told them what to do to have healthy knees with nutrition. Mm-hmm. And the knee replacement got better, and they grew cartilage on top of the knee replacement. They grew cartilage, which is supposed to be impossible to do, but I've seen it. So, there's a lot that can happen here, and it's not because of his job. It's not because of the excessive stress on his knees. It's because his body has run out of the stuff the joints need, and unwittingly he's eating food that's hurting the joints every day. And when he stops that and gives his body joint stuff, well, sky's the limit, really.
Okay, you said 2 Healthy Bone and...
No, it's called a Healthy Body Start Pack 2.0.
Okay.
Liquid. Healthy Body Start Pack 2.0 liquid. It's a stupid name, but I didn't name it. Healthy Body Start Pack 2.0 liquid. He needs 2 of those.
Okay.
4 selenium.
Okay.
And 3 Glucogel capsules at the 240 count.
What is the Glucogel for?
The joint specifically. It's got hyaluronic acid, chondroitin sulfate, and glucosamine sulfate. It provides the raw materials in superabundance that the joint cartilage needs to be healthy.
So this is for a month?
Well, what we do with everybody, the recommendation here for everybody, regardless of what you have, I don't care how old you are, I don't care how much you weigh, I don't care. I do not care what the details are. Eliminate the 10 bad foods and take the appropriate nutritional supplements for 3 months in a row, 90 days, before you judge it. Might take him, 8 weeks before his knees start to feel better. Might take him 1 week before the knees start to feel better. I don't know. Okay. But the recommendation here is 90 days. Give us 90 days to make a positive, dramatic change in your body before you judge the supplement program up or down. Now, once it starts to work, the recommendation is you just keep taking it every month until there's no more problem. So he keeps taking it until there's no more knee pain. I mean, that might take a year, might take 3 months, might take 2 weeks, I don't know. Right? But he keeps doing it until the knee pain's gone, and then he can back off to a maintenance dose.
Okay.
He's probably not going to want to back off to the maintenance dose because he's going to feel so good on this dose, right?
Okay.
And then, we have a big presence in the great province of Alberta in Canada. And Alberta is Canada's Texas. They do oil and gas in Alberta, and I love working with people in Alberta because they're down-to-earth, pragmatic cowboys and cowgirls. They're like real down-to-earth, results-oriented people, and no BS. And we're growing like a weed in that part of the world because word spreads like wildfire. I mean, when you get one guy working on a rig and his arthritis goes away, in 2 days, everybody on the rig knows about the stuff and everybody's taking it because that's just the way that it is. So you want to tell your son about the business opportunity here, and once he gets traction with it physically, show him that he can get his supplements for free and make a couple of extra bucks every month by helping the people on the rig with him get their health back too, because they all need it just as much as he does.
Yeah, he was selling some other products, and then he compared the ones with the longevity, and it was just 13. I said, "Oh, these are better." Yeah, I'm telling you, Carmela, I've been doing this for 25 years as a licensed holistic physician. Okay.
And Dr. Wallach's stuff is better than anything I've ever seen. It's better than anything I've ever seen. And that's why I'm a big cheerleader for this, because it works. And I appreciate your help. Your help. I got to move on, Carmela. You're the greatest. Go get your health back and that of your sons. Let's go to Kansas and talk to Sue about a cat with a tapeworm. What's up with that? Hey, Sue, thanks for the phone call.
I have an 8-pound cat. Well, I have 3 cats, but this little one is not feeling well. And I know she has tapeworms because I see the little rice things on her bottom. And so I didn't know if I could give her a portion of killer biotic instead of going to the vet and getting some chemical.
I don't know. That's a question for Dr. Wallach, because there are some herbs that animals can't take. Like, for instance, you can't give a dog chocolate, right? So, and I don't know, but Dr. Wallach would know. And you can call him on his radio show every day from 2 to 3 Central Time, 2 to 3 Central Time. And if I were you, I would call the studio 10 minutes before the show starts, so you get first in line. There is a homeopathic medicine, which is often very effective at helping animals to recover their intestinal health. And it's homeopathic sulfur, SULPHUR, in the 30C strength. Homeopathic sulfur in the 30C strength.
30C strength?
Yeah, C like Charlie, 30C, homeopathic sulfur. Any health food store in the world will have that. Give the cat 2 pellets orally once a day, for 4 or 5 days and keep your fingers crossed. But call Wallach on the radio because
for 4 or 5 days.
Yeah, or until you see the tapeworm come out. Yeah.
Okay, I have a question for you about eating nuts.
Okay.
Do they leach anything out of your system, like almonds, almond butter?
Well, the problem here is some nuts have phytates in them, phytates, phytates. And if you eat a nut or any food, spinach, for instance, is high in phytates. Rice is high in phytates. Coffee is high in phytates. Beans are high in phytates. If you eat any food that's high in phytates and you've just swallowed a mineral supplement, like, most of the stuff in Youngevity, the only stuff in Youngevity that doesn't have minerals in it is the essential fatty acids, the killer biotic, and a couple of other things. Everything's got minerals in it. So the phytates will bind to some of the minerals and disallow their being absorbed into the body. So we don't recommend you eat anything that has phytates in it within a couple of hours of taking a mineral supplement. But that's really the only prohibition. Now, we don't like peanuts because of the possibility of a fungal infection called aflatoxin, aflatoxin. You can see that under a black light, by the way, and that's an interesting experiment. But other than that, we're good to go with nuts. I appreciate you. Give Wallach a call and let me know what happens. Yeah. San Diego, oh my God, my favorite city in the United States is on the line. Let's go to San Diego and talk to Gary. Hey, Gary, thanks for the call. You are live.
Thanks again. Out of wellness again. I had a lady going to work a couple, 3 months ago and gets rear-ended and slammed again. But anyway, the problem she's got is she got left eye lid is just shut totally. Double vision.
Yeah.
The doctor says she's got a mild concussion.
Yeah.
And the last thing is something about a third nerve palsy.
Yeah. Right, so these are all different arms of the same octopus, right? The cranial nerves, there is a bunch of nerves that come directly off of the brain and that go to your eyes, ears, nose, mouth, and throat to make them work. The rest of the nerves in your body come off of your spinal cord and out of your back. But there's a bunch of nerves that come directly off of the brain and that go to your eyes, ears, nose, mouth, and throat. But to get to your eyes, ears, nose, mouth, and throat, those nerves have to go through tunnels in the skull. Now, if you have trauma to your body, get a whiplash or a head injury, a concussion, your skull bones can get all, messed up because your skull, by the way, your skull is not like Mr. Bones in the high school classroom, a hard, bony, calcified thing, right? Living bone is yellow, it's flexible, it's pliable. And there's a number of bones, I forget how many, in your skull that they all fit together like pieces of a jigsaw puzzle. And when you have a trauma to your skull, the pieces of the puzzle can get, tweaked and moved and out of alignment. So, given the nature of the accident with the trauma, we don't want to overlook the obvious. I would encourage this person wholeheartedly to find either a chiropractor or a naturopathic physician, because both are licensed and regulated in California, that's been trained and has experience with a manipulative technique called craniosacral. She needs to find a craniosacral practitioner. Now, craniosacral practitioners are trained how to put the jigsaw pieces of your skull back together, which sounds horrifying, but it's a wonderful, easy treatment. If you've never had a craniosacral treatment, I highly recommend you get one. They're awesome. But you got to find someone who's skilled at it, right? You got to find someone who's skilled at it. So craniosacral treatment, number one, to help address structural issues from the concussion. Number one. Number two, of course, we need bone and nerve support, right? And how do we do that? Well, the easiest way is with one healthy body, a 2.0 Start Pack liquid. One healthy body, 2.0 Start Pack liquid. One of those. 2 bottles of selenium. and 2 bottles of liquid glucogel plus per 100 pounds of body weight per month. That's 2 liquid glucogel plus, 2 selenium, and 1 Healthy Body Start Pack 2.0 liquid per 100 pounds of body weight per month. It never hurts for a month or two to give extra calcium. Cal Toddy is my favorite, so give her 1 bottle extra of Cal Toddy a month. And for central nervous system support, have her eat a diet that's high in cholesterol, because her nerves are made from cholesterol. That's what they're made from. So it would be prudent for her to eat a diet that's high in cholesterol. Of course, eliminate the 10 bad foods, salt her food so that it tastes good, because that's just going to increase her body's digestive juice, and that's never a bad idea. Now, every homeopath in the world is going to cringe when I say this, but there's a homeopathic medicine that is the first thing to think of when you have lingering effects from a head trauma. It's called natrum sulfuricum, homeopathic natrum sulfuricum. That's N like Nancy, A, T like Thomas, R-U-M, natrum sulfuricum, S like Sam, U-L, P-H-U-R-I, C like Charlie, U-M. I get that in the 200C or the 200CK strength. Give her 2 pellets twice a day for 5 days. 2 pellets twice a day for 5 days. See what happens. Regretfully, Gary, we are all out of time. Appreciate your phone call. Appreciate the work that you do in Wellness Publications in California. Ladies and gentlemen, you did it again. You spent 2 hours with me. Appreciate it very much. I am your steadfast advocate for health. If you haven't been there yet, check my website out, drglidden.com. God willing and the creek don't rise. Back in the saddle tomorrow afternoon. Until then, live long and prosper.